Bullet Club.
Hello, welcome back to the channel. If you've been with us before, welcome to the channel. This is your first time with us. This is Lealan Presents. I'm Alan. This is Leanne. And as you've already seen from the title card about 10 seconds ago, these are our predictions for AEW's upcoming PPV pay-per-view, All In Texas, which is coming to us on July the 12th from Globe Life Field in Texas. Surprise, surprise. So a couple of weeks ago, just a bit of housekeeping, just a couple of weeks ago, I was quite ill. I'm still not fully over it, so I'm probably sounding a little bit nasally. It is what it is. We plow on. We try and get as much content as we can. We didn't want to miss doing predictions for this video, so here we are. So just bear with the nasally sound if I am sounding particularly nasally or sniffly at the time, okay? So there's 8 matches so far on this card, 3 of which are non-title matches. Here comes the cat. Whoops.
Whee!
3 of which are non-title matches, 5 of which are title matches.
He's going to sit on your notes.
No, he's not. Hey, good boy, Rags. There is a potential for another match, which they were kind of setting up. We just finished watching last night's Dynamite. There could be a potential trios title match on the go with the Ops defending against Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and because Pac is currently still out with injury, they may put Gabe Kidd into that, because Gabe Kidd's obviously been interjecting himself in a lot of the Death Rider stuff.
Yep.
And I, for one, I'm all up for seeing more Gabe Kidd, you know, Bullet Club. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to sort of touch on that briefly, just because I feel that there's going to be more matches made. And that could be one of them.
Yeah.
And leading from that as well, if there are more matches made, because there hasn't been any announced for the pre-show yet, the 0 hour, the buy-in, whatever they're calling it this time, then we will update the description to this video down below pre the event starting. So that will be before the pre-show starts on Saturday, which I believe is 1 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching in the Eastern State of America, I think it's 6 p.m. I think it's a 5-hour difference. So it'll be before 6 p.m. on Saturday. We will have all our predictions up to date in the description down below if anything were to change regarding new matches, or if we're changing our predictions because of stuff that happens on Collision tonight as it airs in the United States. Yeah, obviously this is going to be spoiler heavy for Dynamite from last night, and well, I say spoiler heavy. We were not going to. So there's been nearly 2 months since the last PPV.
Yes.
The last one was Double or Nothing. There's been nearly 2 months since that time. I'm not going to cover in full detail everything that happened, because we will literally be here probably until All In describing everything that happened. So we're going to give a bit of a quick rundown, and then we're going to give our predictions. And the way that I always do these is non-title matches first, in the order of least looking forward to most looking forward to, which is very tough on this card because this card is stacked. And then we reset, go back to the title matches again, least looking forward to most looking forward to. There isn't necessarily a bad match on this card, in my opinion.
Nope. Now it's time to sit on the notes.
There he goes. But I have to kind of put them in an order somehow. So I put them in an order which I think makes sense. Not that I can really see that order right now because, you know, Rags butt.
Rags butt.
Yeah.
The star of the show.
So let's start off with the non-title matches first, as already mentioned. The first 2 matches we're going to talk about are kind of interchangeable. And the reason that I put these on first is oh, good grief.
He's a little disaster monster.
Yeah, this is going to
this is going to
complicate things. Okay, so I'm going to need to grab my phone for this.
We need a decoy notebook on the table when we do these.
Yeah, great. This is fantastic. I love this from me, Rags. Thanks. He's licking my book as well. He's cleaning himself. He's licking my book. This is great.
You can see the wet patch.
Yeah, I can. Come on. Okay, come on.
You gotta come off there, honey. I'm sorry.
Come on, off you go. Good boy.
I'm
right.
sorry.
Okay. I'm gonna have to leave this here or hold it. Or, like I don't know, like a teacher. I don't know. So the first 2 matches, technically, we're going to talk about. It will be one and then the other, but we're going to talk about the Casino Gauntlet matches first.
Yeah.
So the men are having a Casino Gauntlet match, as are the women. Each match, the winner of each match will get a shot at their respective world championships. So for the men, it'll be the AEW World Title. For the women, it'll be the Women's World Title. The downside of this at the moment, in a sense, is that we only know 3 competitors from the men's match. 5 competitors from the men's match, sorry, and 2 competitors from the women's match. So let's just jump in. And I'm kind of conscious that it's usually the women's matches that get sort of bumped up first and get the thing on this. So we're going to do the men's Casino Gauntlet match first. So taking the number 1 spot by beating Roderick Strong, Bandido, and Takeshita a few weeks ago on Dynamite is Mark Briscoe. So he will enter the Gauntlet match at number 1. Entering at number 2, after he defeated Anthony Bowens, AR Fox, and Brody King, will be MJF. So I knew I was going somewhere earlier. I was going to explain the rules of the Gauntlet match.
Yeah.
So the Gauntlet match ends at the first pin or submission, regardless of whether or not all the competitors are in the ring or not. So there will be a staggered entrance, random time intervals. So Mark Briscoe will start with MJF 1 and 2. The bell will ring at some point, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, wherever it is down the line. Number 3 will come out, maybe 2 minutes after, number 4 will come out, and so forth, until the amount of competitors, there may be 10, there may be 15, there may be 20 competitors. We don't know. However many people who enter the match, the first person to score a pinfall or submission wins the match, goes on to get a title match at the AEW World Championship. Don't know when, they haven't said when yet. It may be a Forbidden Door, but I doubt it, because there tend to be a lot more AEW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling. My bet would probably be All Out.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think is in Canada this year. I think it's in London, Ontario, I believe. Don't quote me on that one. I'm not that far ahead of my notes, but I'm pretty sure it's in Canada this year. Yeah. They're usually holding Chicago, but it's not this year. So my bet will be around then. So that's the men's competitors that we know. Mark Briscoe entering number 1, MJF entering number 2. We've got Mystico, Ricochet, and Brody King. Those are the only 5 competitors that we know are entering this match. It's a bit of a shame.
Are they? MJF or Briscoe could win before anyone enters.
But I mean, in terms of the actual people who've announced,
being in the pool.
Now, I was wondering if the fact that they had if you win this match in number 1 in the Gauntlet, does that mean that Roderick Strong, Bandido, and Konosuke Takeshita is also in the match? And again, the same with MJF's match with Anthony Bowens, AR Fox. Obviously, we know Brody King's in there. So that kind of leads a little bit more into that. We don't know. They haven't said specifically, yes, those other competitors are in the match. But in my mind, it would go a bit of a way to say, yes, they're in the match because they were in the qualifying match, per se.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In the women's side of things, we've got Chris Statlander beat Willow, Thunder Rosa, and Athena. So Willow Nightingale and Athena to be the number 1 competitor in the women's match. There was some interference from the Death Riders on that one, which Chris Statlander did not see. And they've been kind of teasing her then, kind of just be who you are, don't let anyone tell you who you are, and sort of be yourself. It's kind of almost like she's kind of going against Death Riders, like, stay away from me, I don't need your help. And she's kind of going to Willow, trying to make amends for what she did last year with Willow. Yeah. And Willow's obviously not believing any of it. At some point, does this mean that Chris Statlander's just going to flip and join the Death Riders? We don't know. But that's kind of the storyline that they're going for. It's like, is she going to join the Death Riders? Is she not going to join the Death Riders? It's just kind of up in the air with that. And I'm liking it. It's a lot of intrigue. It's very subtle.
Yes.
It's very almost passing moments. Yeah. But they are very good moments. I mean, there's a point where John Moxley, Chris Statlander turned around and she dropped her phone and Moxley picks it up, says, don't let anyone tell you who you are, who to be, hands her phone back. And you can see Statlander's kind of shaking like, oh God, John Moxley, what's he going to do to me? But he just hands her phone back and walks off. Yeah. And it's like...
After like a little motivational pep talk.
Okay, that's interesting. So it's interesting to see where they go with that. The number 2 competitor was determined last night on Dynamite, and it's going to be Megan Bayne, who defeated Queen Aminata, Tekla, and Ty Mello in that Fatal 4-Way match as well. So the only 2 women that we know of right now at this moment in time joining this match is Chris Statlander and Megan Bayne.
Again, same speculation. It could be the other women in those.
Yes. So that would be Willow Nightingale, Thunder Rosa, Athena, Queen Aminata, Tekla, and Ty Mello. At that point, you got 8 people in the match, which is great. For the men's match, they've announced that would be it as well, actually, because it'd be 9 because Ricochet wasn't in the match. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. I can't count apparently. So 10. So if it is all those competitors, it would be 10 in the match, but we need to wait and see what's happening with that. So what are you doing right? So in terms of predictions then, because it's a bit difficult, have you got anything to add to that at all? I mean, there's no real build-up per se.
No, they're quite unpredictable matches in quite a lot of ways. They could end up being one-on-one, although unlikely, because they'd have to win very quickly against in
the first 4 or 5 minutes, whatever it is,
against a really good competitor, whoever it is. But it's like you don't know the order they're coming out, and the more people are in there, the more chaotic it is, and the harder it is to get that win.
Yeah, that's completely random too.
Yeah,
it could be 5 minutes, it could be 30 seconds. We don't know.
Crazy. So it's going to be fun to watch. See what goes on.
So for the men, who have you got winning this one? It's a bit difficult because we don't know what the competitors. So you can either choose someone from the list, or you can throw in a wild card.
I'm a little bit worried that it's just going to be Briscoe. To be completely honest. Especially after the promos he's done with MJF, the talky talk. I don't know, it feels like we know he gets pushed because
of the
various things, and he is a fan favorite for a lot of people.
Although I could barely discern what he said in that ranting thing.
Oh, I had no idea.
I think I picked up every third word, maybe.
And he said Sunday a lot, which
I
don't know.
To be fair, Mercedes messed up that as well.
Yeah, but that's Mercedes.
Yeah.
I think like even just the fact that this pickle chant has taken off, which is hilarious, but also like why I hate that I find that funny.
Kosher pickle,
tiny kosher pickle.
It's almost like Rick and Morty humor, isn't it?
Yes. Anything pickle is Rick and Morty now.
Yeah.
But it sort of leans into he's being pushed, so maybe he's the favorite.
So if the pickle thing in Rick and Morty is Pickle Rick, does that mean MJF has a pickle? I'll let that fill that in for themselves, the viewers. Yeah. So are you going with Mark Briscoe then? Or are you going to pick someone else?
I think if anyone, I'll go Mark Briscoe. I don't know how this is going to work. I feel like we can't count this necessarily as points.
I know.
Because it is so unpredictable.
It is a difficult one.
But yeah, we'll go with it for funsies.
I'm going to go for number 2. I'm going for MJF.
Cool. All right. Let's fight it out.
and there is a reasoning for that, and I'm not going to allude to that just yet.
Ooh, mysteries. Relates to a later match then.
I am not confirming nor denying that.
Cool. Okay. I've locked my answer in, so don't worry.
Yeah, but you haven't locked answers in for future matches.
True.
So, okay, so yeah, I mean, the best thing about this is that, I mean, last year at All In, what is he doing?
Rags I don't know if you can see him on camera, he's being a right diva right now. He's in quite a shape.
I mean, last year at All In London, they had one of these.
Yeah.
Was it the casino? Or was it the match? It was a similar sort of match. I can't remember if it was the Casino Gauntlet. I think it was the Casino Gauntlet. Or was it Christian Cage won that one? We did have Ricochet make his debut. We had Zack Sabre Jr. show up.
True.
We had Nigel McGuinness come out of retirement for it. So there is speculation that there could be maybe some of the former WWE guys who were recently released could show up for a one-off. Or maybe people like Matt Cardona, who's on the indie circuit, could show up, or someone who's been injured could return, and that's quite an exciting premise for this. And that's not just not for the guys, that's for the girls as well. There's a very big speculation that the former Cora Jade could show up in the women's battle royal, in the women's gauntlet. Sorry, not the battle royal, the gauntlet. Yeah. So okay, in terms of the women, then who have you got for that one?
Oh, I don't know. I kind of in that last qualifying match, in my head, I was like, it'd be really cool if Tekla got in.
Yeah.
I think I'm finding Tekla sort of fascinating at the moment. She's one of those styles that's really captured my attention.
Yeah.
I don't know if she would win the gauntlet and get into a title picture at this point.
Is it too soon for her to get that, maybe?
Is it too soon? But it would be cool.
It would be. It would be
cool. I don't know. But again, the Chris Statlander thing leaning into the potential Death Riders, maybe getting an opportunity gets her and even more in with them, potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so much going on.
Yeah, there is.
So I don't know who to pick.
You need to pick someone.
I need to pick someone. I'm just going to go with Tekla. I feel like our choices for these ones matter a bit less because of how crazy it's going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put a limb out and say Tekla because that would be a pretty sweet twist.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I was kind of hoping, well, obviously we got desired result, and I was going to use it for this, but if, I don't know, should this not weight towards the points?
I feel like
I don't know.
Maybe it's half weighted towards points, if anything.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out, but I feel like it can't be a full...
Yeah.
It's not fully an informed prediction.
Yeah, because I was going to use my desired result to pick Julia Hart.
Yes.
But I can't see that happening.
Save your desired result. Well, we won't count these as points because of what we've talked about. If you want to go Julia Hart, go Julia Hart.
Yeah, I'm on Julia. Just for the sake of it, because I want to see Julia start winning again.
Yes.
I want to see her getting back into a title picture at some point. And again, it's speculation of future matches, which I don't want to bring up now because it might swerve your decision, no pun intended, in terms of future matches. So, but yeah, so moving on to the next and last of the non-title matches, and speaking of swerve, we have Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks, Nicholas and Matthew Jackson.
Yes.
So, I'm going to get to the stipulation in a minute.
Yeah, cool.
But as a quick rundown, the Bucks returned during the Moxley versus Swerve match at Dynasty. Lights went out. They came back up. They're holding Swerve. They obviously EVP trigger him.
Mm-hmm.
Cost him the match with Moxley. Obviously, he doesn't get the title. There's too many threads of them. That's wrong with the Death Rider story and the Young Bucks and Swerve and Ospreay and the Ops and Hangman and all.
Yeah,
they all kind of merge together, which is a bit awkward to try and separate them out.
Mm-hmm.
So Hangman is obviously facing Moxley for the title of this card. Swerve is adamant, saying he's not going to help Hangman to win the title.
Yeah.
He said, he's against Hangman winning the title. If anything, he's going to stop Hangman from winning the title because he doesn't believe he deserves it. Ospreay, on the other hand, has kind of jumped in to be the defender of that because Hangman is the most credible threat to Moxley.
Yes.
He's one of the Hangman is probably the only person who's willing to push it far enough to be able to beat Moxley.
Yeah.
And again, we'll cover that later on. But it kind of leads into this in terms of Ospreay is trying to get Swerve to not team up, but kind of assist Hangman at this show to have him help win the world title away from Moxley, get away from the Death Riders, get it back in prominence because that belt should be seen.
The sort of view of the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah. So obviously they come to heads with that, and they're kind of having an argument back and forth, which then leads into a match, which goes into a time limit draw. The end of that match, Ospreay's kind of on the outside. He's taking a beating from Swerve. The Bucks turn up. They handcuff or tie Swerve up to the corner. They start putting these sneakers on the trainers with thumbtacks on the bottom of them. As they're about to super kick Swerve, Ospreay jumps in front of it, eats the beat, literally jumps in front of the bullet.
Yeah.
Takes it. Obviously, that's going to hurt because it's thumbtacks to the face, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Which then I think kind of leads to Swerve and Ospreay kind of getting back on the same page and kind of rekindling that friendship almost, or at least the respect. I wouldn't say they're friends per se, but they certainly have the respect for each other.
Yeah.
They've been teaming up a couple of times. They've won a couple of matches. Bucks keep trying to throw in stuff at them and kind of draw a rift in and kind of stop them from being that. So it comes to the point then where I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago where Swerve and Ospreay are like, look, we want the Young Bucks. I'm not going to say what Ospreay said. We want the Young Bucks at All In. How about you fight us? And how about you put your EVP statuses on the line?
Yes.
And the Bucks are like, no, why would we even do that? There's pointless. There's nothing in it for us. So then Ospreay is kind of like, Swerve, trust me. Just trust me. Okay, how about this? If you win, neither Swerve nor I, speaking about Will Ospreay, can challenge for the AEW World title for a whole calendar year. Swerve kind of flips the switch. He's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
You can see he's completely irate at Ospreay. He's like, no, we can't do this. Ospreay's trying to calm him down. It's like, look, and I'm assuming, because we don't actually hear what he says, I'm assuming it's like, look, we can beat them. Why are you worrying about this? Because when we get them in the ring, we will run rings around them. Buck's like, right, well, we'll only do this match and put our EVP title on the stage if both of you agree to that. Swerve agrees to it. Here we are. So if the Young Bucks lose, they lose their EVP status. Mm-hmm. If Swerve and Ospreay lose, they cannot challenge for the AEW World Championship for an entire calendar year.
High stakes.
Very high stakes. And obviously since then there's been brawls back and forth between the Death Riders and Ops and Bucks and Swerve and Hangman and Ospreay, and God, it's been nuts. It's been great. I love it. Have you got anything else to add to this one?
Well, the last thing we saw was Swerve completely destroying the Bucks limo, which is fun.
Yes.
Just wrecked it with a massive digger. Just great. I always get a bit nervous though when the people that I would like to win sort of come into the match with the upper hand, with like they've got the last laugh and now they're getting into a match, which makes me think they're more likely not to win because tables turn easily.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like playing around in my head, but I don't know. It could be the win. It could be the EVPs stop being the EVPs.
Yeah.
They like to change things up quite a lot, which leans into that. I mean, just becoming the EVP speaks to that.
Yeah.
And they might be just wanting to go back to classic Young Bucks or try something different. I don't know.
And that's the thing, is that if do I say this before you've made your prediction, because it might swerve you? I don't know. It's fantasy booking, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Booking. So like, if the Young Bucks lose, I don't believe they would lose their actual EVP status.
No, but they wouldn't be able to like brag about it. They'd have to go back to the EVP trigger would not be the EVP
it would
trigger
be
anymore.
the BTE trigger again.
Yes, BTE. I couldn't remember what it was.
If and like the TK driver will become the Melter driver again, yeah. But like if the Bucks lose this and they lose their EVP status, I think we'll see a hiatus.
Yeah.
They go away for a little bit, a few months, wherever it is. And as you said, they would go back to being the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
They would come back as the face. Nick and Matt.
Matt.
Yeah.
I forgot
they would come back as the face team, and they'd be humble. They'd be apologetic. They would be like, the power went to our heads.
Yeah.
We never wanted it to go that way.
Very
and
possible.
they'd be kind of trying to make amends almost. That's if the Young Bucks were to lose, that's the way I kind of see it going.
Yeah.
If they don't, they're just going to be completely insufferable even more. But it's brilliant. Because I love
would be brilliant.
Absolutely love the Young
Part
Bucks.
of me, I don't know, because it's Moxley's got this title, so it's a bit like if Swerve and Ospreay lose. No, hang on, I'm trying to think. If they win, they're still allowed to challenge.
Yes.
But then if Moxley does drop the title, then they're left with the option. They don't get to try and take Moxley down anymore because he's already sort of been taken down. So I don't know, there's kind of a dynamic there with what are they sort of fighting for in the end.
What, Ospreay and Swerve?
Yeah.
To strip the Bucks?
Yeah.
To strip the Bucks of their power?
Well, yeah. But it's like the title picture bit.
Yeah. But now you've got to bear in mind, right? If Moxley drops the title to Hangman, who does Swerve hate?
Yeah, very true.
Who would Swerve want to go after adamantly and strip him of the title?
Mm-hmm. So it would be infuriating if Hangman wins the title.
Yeah. And
Swerve is then not able to challenge.
And I guess in the same vein of Ospreay, he lost to Hangman in the finals of the Owen Hart tournament.
Mm-hmm.
He no doubt wants a second go around to prove he can beat him.
Yeah.
How much sweeter would it be if it was for the title?
Very true, very true.
So there's definitely stakes on both sides.
Yeah. Oh, it's a tough one. I'm... Oh, oh my goodness. I think based on like the various bits that we've talked about, and I've already mentioned about certain ways I was thinking based on how it's gone so far, I think I am gonna go for the Bucks.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, again, it could go either way, and either way they've got amazing storylines they could do to carry on. So I'm gonna lean into that initial instinct of Swerve is on a high right now, and this could really take him down. So we'll go with Bucks.
Yeah, I think this sounds difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me is thinking that if the Bucks somehow cheat to win, does that make Swerve more likely to assist Hangman?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, could be.
Or
especially if the Bucks cheat to win and then get involved in Hangman's match, Swerve's more likely to want to intervene to stop them.
Is it more likely that Swerve would want Hangman to win more if he can still challenge for the title so he can take it off him? It's a bit of a catch-22 all around, isn't it? I'm going to go Bucks as well for the time being.
Cool. We'll see what happens on Collision.
Yeah, I think I just need to think this one over. The problem is, I mean, I was like, I come into this thinking it's going to be Swerve and Ospreay. But then we watched Dynamite.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Do you have the same thought with me with the...
Yeah.
They're on a high right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the fact that they just had the limo destroyed.
Yeah.
They're going to be fighting extra hard to take revenge back on Swerve and kind of...
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. That may change. As I said, if anything does change, it'll be in the description down below.
Yes.
Before the event starts. Okay, so next up, then we're going to start our title matches, and the first one we're going to talk about is Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher for the TNT Championship.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for interrupting me there. Love that.
It was a necessary interruption. You know this.
So Paragon, which is obviously Adam Cole's faction per se or team, have been kind of feuding on and off a little bit with the Don Callis family, including Daniel Garcia and Daddy Magic.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Kyle Fletcher had a match with Adam Cole at one point. He got thrown out because of a disqualification, I think.
Rings a bell.
Yeah. So I mean, I think so. Kyle Fletcher was saying he wanted a title shot. Daniel Garcia was like, "Well, you got to get through me first because I think I deserve it more," etc., etc. They had a match last week in Collision, episode 100 of Collision. Fletcher obviously won that, leading to this match. That's pretty much all we've got.
Yep.
We haven't really had any other build-up per se, apart from just the two teams going at each other constantly. That's about it, really. This is kind of why it's the least looking forward to. Now, this match is going to be an absolute banger.
It just doesn't have the build-up that some of the other matches do. Which, in a sense, also makes it really hard to predict.
I mean, what are we doing? Watching WWE here? There's 2 weeks in between PLEs.
Guess they got to have some that aren't like mind blowing.
So, since there's no backstory, let's have a little bit of a sidebar.
Okay.
I mean, WWE apparently don't see AEW as a threat, right?
Yeah.
So why have they stacked Saturday Night Main Event, NXT Great American Bash, and Evolution on the same weekend that AEW are running All In, which was announced last year,
including Goldberg's
retirement match. Yawn.
I heard that it wasn't actually a retirement match, but I don't know if
This is last match.
It was misrepresented.
Yeah, it's his last match.
There's a little bit of a...
But it's like, oh yeah, we don't see AEW as a competition. We don't see him as a threat.
We're just
why are you heavily stacking
compete with them
the entire weekend? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yes. Get a grip. And stop putting 2 and 3 weeks in between PLEs. It's getting really boring.
Exhausting.
It's really old. Your storylines are flat. Anyway, Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher. Anything else you want to know this one?
It's going to be good. These guys are great.
Yeah, Kyle Fletcher's definitely going to be a world champion in the future.
Yeah. Adam Cole's just classic, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know any other way to describe it. I feel like Kyle Fletcher's probably going to take this one, but I don't really have a reasoning for that. So it's just based on it. Initial feelings.
So you're going Kyle Fletcher?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm also going Kyle Fletcher.
Ooh.
I feel that whilst Adam Cole has had a great run with his title, I don't think he necessarily needs it.
No.
I think if they want to make a go of Paragon, they should really be looking at tag or trios titles.
Yeah.
Whether it's the AEW ones or the Ring of Honor ones, it doesn't matter. And Kyle Fletcher, I think, to elevate him higher, I think he's kind of not. He hasn't necessarily plateaued.
No.
That's not the right phrase, but it's something I can sort of put it on. Yeah. He's rising and rising and rising. And he's having these great matches every time he shows up. He's putting on in classic matches. He's so good.
He's not really in the spotlight.
But he's not in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And I think the only way to do that right now with Kyle Fletcher is to put a title belt of some sort around his waist.
Yeah.
And I think this is the one to do it.
Sounds good.
So, yeah, Kyle Fletcher. And obviously that'll make Don Callis happy. Especially after Konosuke Takeshita lost both the International Championship and the Never Openweight Championship.
Might shift some of the dynamics in that faction.
Yeah,
maybe.
Exactly. So Kyle Fletcher, I think, is definitely taking this one. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't.
Yeah. Cool.
Next match we're going to talk about then is for the AEW Women's World Championship. And it sees Toni Storm defending against Mercedes Mone. 6 belts, Mone.
Yeah.
How many belts is too many belts?
I think maybe 3.
So Mercedes Mone is carrying around 6 belts, 5 actual titles. One title has 2 belts for some reason. I don't even know why. I think it's the Rev Pro
unified
British
kind of thing.
I have no friggin' idea. I think it's Rev Pro. I have no idea. She's looking to make it 6 titles with 7 belts. So she won the Owen Hart tournament, which obviously meant she'd get this match at All In. This is actually the first ever time these women are meeting in a 1-to-1. They've never faced each other. Yeah, because they both came from WWE.
Yeah.
They've never fought each other before in a 1-on-1.
Interesting.
Which is interesting. So they did a face-to-face on Dynamite after Double or Nothing. At the point of All In, Mercedes Mone has been with the company for 486 days and has not been defeated in a singles match. I think she's lost tag matches, but hasn't been the one to take the pinfall or the submission hit. You know? So they've been trading insults back and forth. Tony's innuendos are just hilarious.
Love it.
Was it you need to try and run your money train through the Tony tunnel? And it's like, oh my god, what is this? And then when it quips back to like your hips aren't wide enough, and it's like, oh my god.
It's quite a good line.
It is, to be fair. But it's like, oh wow, this is a bit. It's not so much we can cover because we're trying to keep this as friendly as possible for all of our viewers. So some of the stuff that Tony's been coming up with, she's dropped S-bombs, she's dropped F-bombs. It's like, oh my god.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Then sort of there's been commentary things. So whenever Toni Storm's been in the ring, whether it's singles match or tag matches, Mone's generally most of the time been out in commentary with her steak and her champagne and her salads and whatnot. But then Toni Storm started doing it as well.
But then just sat completely stone-faced.
When Mercedes Mone was defending her TBS championship against Mina Shirakawa, she came out, there was steak, there was food, there was champagne, and Toni Storm was just like...
Just sat there. Her expression...
Not even looking at the ring, just staring into the distance somewhere.
Her expression did not change a tiny bit the whole match. It was
great.
Art.
Absolutely amazing. There was a point where Mercedes won a new title in Mexico. I don't remember the name of the belt. I don't remember the name of the person. This was like a month and a half ago. Ish. Again, because there's so much time in between. I mean, my notes are pretty extensive enough already as it is. I'd be going through like an entire book's worth and we'd be over 3 hours. After the match, Mina Shirakawa sort of turns up on the ramp, distracts Mercedes to let Toni in behind her, and Mercedes is like, she's got these belts draped in her arms, and she's like, she goes to walk away, Toni grabs her, just sort of belly to back suplexes her over, the belts go flying everywhere, it was beautiful. Yeah. And then obviously in return, Mone attacks Toni Storm next week after on Dynamite, so they're kind of trading back and forth quite a lot with that, you know. Okay, I'm just gonna put a line there because I've kind of put a bit extra on there, which I don't really want. Luckily, you can't read my writing. So.
Okay.
Have you got anything else you really want to put into this one?
I hate
Mercedes Mone.
Mercedes Mone's
darling
fake posh thing that she's doing now. Every time she says "darling," I die a little inside. And well, with on Dynamite last night.
Yes. Yeah.
When they had this champagne.
Yeah.
And then she says, completely out of the blue after drinking it, "This is burnt. It's obvious this was frozen at one point." And I'm like, what are you doing, woman? That's not something humans say. It's not, she's just trying to prove that you know what happens to champagne when it's frozen.
Is Mercedes Mone not human?
I don't think so. So yeah, it's like...
I mean, we always suspected that Luther's not human, but...
It's hard. I don't know if she's like pretending to mock Toni Storm for her like accent and the way she speaks, or if she's just trying to do a posh thing.
I get the feeling it is. I think the feeling is a bit of both.
I think it started as mocking, but she just keeps on doing it.
I'm the CEO. I'm rich. I drink champagne. I got all this extravagant steak and all this kind of stuff, and I think that's what the gimmick is for her.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bit of a little bit of A and a little bit of B. The darling stuff is definitely mocking. The champagne thing was probably meant more of a serious, I know what I'm talking about.
It sounded even more stupid than the darling.
Ridiculous. It did. It sounded ridiculous.
So yeah, that's my take.
Yeah. Anything else at all?
Nope, nothing to add.
Excuse me, who do you got?
I'm terrified. I think Toni. I'm going to go Toni.
Yeah.
I don't know whether to put it as my desired result though, because I'm terrified. Tony's just too good. Tony's so good. And I think that if anyone's going to be the person to defeat Mercedes Mone, Toni is like really well placed to do it. And it would just feed so satisfyingly into that whole story. So I think I am going with Toni. I'm not going to put it as my desired result. I'm going to just be confident like Toni Storm.
Be timeless.
I'm being timeless.
So you're sticking with Toni Storm?
Sticking with Toni Storm. Now spoil everything for me.
Who am I going for?
Mercedes
Mone.
No! She's not allowed another belt!
One thing that's in my head is Mina.
Yes.
What if somehow Mercedes Mone has gotten to Mina and she's going to, much like Mariah May did, turn on Toni?
Betrayal.
I'm not saying that is what's going to happen, but that is something that's kind of niggling the back of my head somewhere. But, however... I think that to have Mercedes come all this way, have a 14-month undefeated streak, have all these titles, and then to not win, all this build-up will be for nothing.
I suppose.
Okay, so imagine, right, Toni wins, Mercedes loses, TBS title's not on the line. None of her other titles are on the line.
No.
What does she do? Go back to just defending the TBS title after she's lost? That would fall quite flat, I think.
That's a good point.
And I feel that it would make the belt feel worthless in that sense. And when she does lose, eventually, because it's going to happen, it will happen at some point, then it'll be a fall from grace. But then the next story will be who will be the first to defeat her. And I'm pretty sure they had. I'm not up to date with the WCW. I was the WWF guy back in the day, Attitude Era, etc. But when Goldberg came in, that's kind of full circle, isn't it? When Goldberg came in and he has had the undefeated streak through 203 or whatever his matches that he had, it's kind of became a thing of who will be the first to beat the streak.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what they could do with this. Who will be the first to beat Mercedes Moné? But if she doesn't beat Toni and she doesn't take this title, as much as I hate to say this because I don't want Mercedes Moné to win at all this build will be for nothing.
Yeah.
The TBS title will fall flat. Any defenses afterwards will just feel flat.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. So I'm going Mercedes Moné.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. But it will be a massive, amazing fall from grace for Mercedes Moné when she starts losing. And then it'll be a clamber. It'll be a, you've lost the Red Pro title. Oh no, what's next? She loses the, I think it's CMLL title. And then it'll be like she'll start to fracture and crack, and it could actually see something decent come out of her, possibly. The way that she might spiral. Kind of like what Toni Storm was doing.
Yeah.
She was kind of going to a mental breakdown almost.
I think she's already having a mental breakdown the way she's talking in a minute.
But I mean, sort of in losing all your titles, going one by one, losing all these belts. You go from 6 to 5 to 3 to 2, and then you clamber on that last one, and then it was ripped away from you, and then it's like, what do you do then? And that would be more interesting, I think, than just having her lose flat out right now.
Okay.
So I go Mercedes Moné. Yeah, as much as I don't want to. Just throwing that in. Okay, next match we're going to talk about then is for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, and it sees the Hurt Syndicate defending against Jetspeed and the Patriarchy. So Jetspeed being Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey.
Yep.
The Patriarchy being Christian Cage and Nick Wayne. So Hurt Syndicate have literally been beating down everyone who's getting in their way. They don't give a damn. They're just beating up everyone because
they hurt people.
They hurt people. And this includes Jetspeed.
Yes.
Jetspeed kind of got in the way at one point. They put the beat down on them. Christian Cage then kind of in an interview alluded that he wants to take his relationship with Nick Wayne to the next level, and he wants to become the first AEW Tag Team Champion father and son team. Yes. Which is like, okay, right, okay. And it's just when they first had the promo, he said, "I want to be the first ever father and son tag team champions." But he did say AEW Tag Team Champions. So I was thinking, what about Dominic and Rey Mysterio? Yeah. Because that's what I was thinking. So. Dynamite 300, the match was made official. That's pretty much how it happened. On the Collision, in Collision 100, the Saturday after the Dynamite, Kevin Knight was involved in a match with Shelton Benjamin and Nick Wayne. And Kevin Knight pinned Shelton Benjamin. Yep. Which surprised everyone. I wasn't expecting that at all in the triple threat. Obviously, we saw then on Dynamite last night that they went into the Hurt Syndicate locker room, left a little note for them on the board. Some of the lines of, since I've already beaten Shelton, we've decided to take the tag titles. Happy birthday. Yeah. Then we also saw Christian Cage and Nick Wayne, because they are tagging up with FTR to take on, is it Outrunners and Jetspeed, I think it was, on Collision. And Christian Cage kind of like, look, we have a lot of respect for FTR. When this match rolls around, because it's a triple threat, there won't be any disqualifications. If you scratch our backs, we will scratch yours. We win the titles, we'll give you first shot. So they said we'll see what happens on Collision. And then obviously the last thing from Dynamite last night, when I sort of allude to, is the Hurt Syndicate came out to try and help MJF. Yeah. And they got jumped by Jetspeed, and they got jumped as well by the Patriarchy. The Patriarchy did hit a few concertos on Bobby Lashley's leg. Yes. Which was interesting. Which is interesting. You've got two heel teams and one face team. So he's a bit of a free-for-all there. I mean, that's pretty much all the build-up on that one. Have you got anything else you want to add to this one?
I don't think I do. It's going to be great.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. Yeah, all these guys are superb.
Yeah.
To be fair, as much as everyone hates Christian Cage, he is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, for sure.
Nick Wayne, I think it's his birthday today or yesterday. So, he's only like, 20, 21, wherever it is.
Yeah. He's
literally going to go so far in this business. He is so good already. Yes. He had an amazing Best of Super Juniors tournament. He didn't win it, but he had an amazing tournament. Obviously, he's being coached. He's the current, being coached by Christian Cage, the current Ring of Honor TV champion. I think he's going to go very far. Kevin Knight, Speedball, Mike Bailey, they've only just sort of come in the company the last couple of months. They're going to go far as well. Obviously, we know Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, they're already established,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I got. So if you got anything else, what you got?
I don't know. I feel like maybe Hurt Syndicate keep it.
Yeah.
I think they maybe retain, but it's going to be sort of a really hard battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no doubt it's going to be a hard battle. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, especially if the concertos do affect Bobby Lashley's leg. They're going to have to compensate for that. But they do have... I know MJF is in the Casino Gauntlet, but he could very well also get involved.
Yeah, potentially. And you got MVP as well.
Yeah, MVP can get involved. He's walking I'm going to go with Hurt Syndicate. But it could probably go any way, in my mind, to be honest.
See, my original thinking was Patriarchy. To be that sort of first tag champs, father and son thing.
Yeah.
And then you kind of had this weird dynamic between Christian and Nick Wayne. But I think I'm going to agree with you on that. And I think I'm going to go Hurt Syndicate as well.
Yeah. I think that...
Because I think that if, let's say, for example, Nick Wayne or even Christian Cage takes the pinfall, okay, the other member of that team is not going to be happy.
Yeah.
If Nick Wayne takes it, Christian Cage, well, you're a disappointment as a son. If Christian Cage gets pinned, you're a disappointment as a father.
Yeah.
And then, excuse me, we've already seen a bit of a rift kind of in the Patriarchy. There's some sort of friction between Christian and Nick Wayne because Christian keeps setting up these ridiculous matches for Nick Wayne and Nick Wayne's just like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
So I feel that this story needs to sort of start progressing a bit more. And if this is the case of that's what happens, and that's what's going to be start that proper split.
Yeah, definitely. I think even if they are going to get the tag titles at some point, I think a little bit longer before they do, a bit more chasing first.
I kind of feel like if they don't win it on this, they won't get the tag titles.
Yeah, okay.
The rupture will be enough to split them up.
Yeah.
Patriarchy will be no more.
It'll be the dream never realised, yeah.
Who's to say Killswitch doesn't come back as well? Because I think he's cleared, but I'm not 100%.
I would love to see Killswitch come back. Maybe he'll be in the Casino Gauntlet.
That's a good chat. Yeah, that's a good chat. Yeah, that's a good chat. So I think that's and there's obviously still Adam Copeland. Yes. There has been talk of potentially tagging up with Christian Cage before he retires again. Yeah. Apparently, it was supposed to have happened prior to now, but Christian Cage felt that the storyline he was doing with Nick Wayne needed to run its full course, and obviously this is the next progression for that. So potentially this could be a good
thing to do.
Yeah, and this could be the winding down of this Patriarchy story with Nick Wayne splitting away from Christian Cage. Maybe they'll get a match. He'll be like, "Well, I'm taking that off from you," and Nick Wayne beats him down.
Yes, I think however that ends, it's going to set Nick Wayne up to be a single star.
Absolutely,
I think. He's gonna get the better of Christian.
I mean, he went to New Japan on his own. He didn't have Christian Cage. He didn't have Kip Sabian or his mother there. He was really good in the Best of Super Juniors.
He's nearly ready.
Yeah, he is. Cool. Okay, next match we're going to talk about then is going to be Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada. Both technically defending their titles. So Kenny is still the current international champion. Kazuchika Okada is still the continental champion. However, the belts are being unified to create the first ever AEW unified champion. The belt does have side plates. One shows a Rainmaker by Kazuchika Okada being depicted on it, and the other shows the One-Winged Angel by Kenny Omega.
That's so cool, because then whoever has the belt, it's always going to be those guys immortalized in it.
There has been a thing from Tony Khan, I think I read it either yesterday or today, that it's the choice of the winner if they want to carry all three belts or not.
Okay.
It's completely at their discretion.
Oh, so it'll depend which of them wins, whether they do or not.
Kenny would be like, I'm humble, it's fine.
Just the one.
You'll probably come out on Dynamite and be like, these are the two belts, it's fine, I've got this unified one, that's all I need. Okada's it'll be Don Callis more than anything, let's be perfectly honest. Okada will be like, yeah, these are my belts, bitch. So the match got announced. They obviously teased it. I think it was a Dynasty after Kenny won the title, or it might have been a Double or Nothing after he retained. Okada comes out, have a bit of a stare down. They both kind of wander off. The match is made. Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega. It's like the 7th time I think they've faced each other. I think. Don't quote me on that one, and my numbers might be off. Every time they've fought, it's been an instant classic. They've had 2 matches went over an hour each time.
Yeah.
One was a time limit draw. One went over the hour. Just insane matches. It's so good. So during the contract signing for this, guess what? Don Callis turns up. Great, awesome, boo. Kenny's there and he's mouthing off to Don Callis. He's like, I've seen all your tricks. I know all your tricks. And Don Callis is like, yeah, you bet you didn't see this one coming. And he gets attacked by Okada from behind. Turns out Kazuchika Okada has joined the Don Callis family.
Boo.
They have a telescopic nightstick and they're smacking Kenny in the stomach, obviously with his diverticulitis. He's had, 2-3 feet of intestines removed. He has actually said recently in an interview that he doesn't know how much longer he can go because of it. He has a match and he's in bed pretty much all day for the next 5 days because it drains him so much. And it always happens to my favourite. Stone Cold Steve Austin gets neck injury and has to retire early. Kenny Omega gets diverticulitis and is probably going to have to retire. It's like, all my favourites. No, I need to stop having favourites.
It's heartbreaking.
So they hospitalize him. I did think they went a little bit too far with the blood spitting up thing.
There was a lot of blood, yeah.
It's a bit too much. So
too many blood capsules.
Yeah. So he's out, and then Don Callis and Okada in the ring, and they're mouthing off. Kenny's got no friends. He's got no friends left. He's burned all his bridges. Mark Briscoe comes out, surprise, surprise, because he's the friend.
He's
everyone's friend. Yeah, he's that guy.
He's a superhero.
He said, so yeah, I'm Kenny's friend, and he has got another friend. And he brings out the returning Kota Ibushi, the Golden Star, one half of the Golden Lovers.
Yeah.
Yes, Kota, let's go. Goes into the ring. He starts beating up Okada. They have a match. Okada did win the match. And then the Don Callis family start beating down Kota Ibushi. Boom, out comes Kenny Omega for the save. Everyone's like, what the hell is Kenny doing? He's got a chair, he's swinging it. It's like, oh, here we go. This is going to be so good. I'm looking forward to this. The only reason this isn't the top of the list is because of the build-up between Mox and Hangman.
Yeah,
so good.
fair enough.
But I think that in terms of wrestling prowess, this could be the match of the night.
Yeah.
This could potentially be match of the year.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. It's gonna be great. Gosh.
Anything else you got on this one?
I don't know what's going to happen. Oh my goodness. You got so many factors that can play into it. Obviously, Don Callis and the family are going to get involved.
I'm wondering if Tony Khan will ban everyone from ringside.
Maybe.
I mean, that was the whole thing with the Continental title.
Yeah, true.
Nobody's allowed at ringside.
So are they going to go with Continental title rules?
Yeah.
That is a good point. And will then the Unified title have those rules?
Don't
Questions for another time. But if they're not banned, at least Kenny has got he's got
some backup, yeah.
For sure. So I don't know. It could be chaos at ringside.
Oh God, yeah.
Or complete calm at ringside. I don't know. It's gonna be good. I don't know. I don't know who's gonna win.
Gotta make a prediction. It's that time.
It's that sort of almost sinking feeling that Don Callis is gonna get it. But it would be just so good if Kenny got it. After everything that he's been through, just to solidify that. I was already the champion, but it sort of almost brings everything together in that victory, and it could mean so much.
But it's nothing to sniff out if Okada gets it either.
Not at all. And the storylines they can go through with having him have it and having it in the Don Callis family.
Okada's seen as one of the best to ever do it in New Japan. 7-time IWGP champion, 3-time G1 winner. He went back to back in G1. He won 2 years in a row.
And these guys, they fought, what do you say, 7 times?
I think it was 7, yeah.
And there's been a back and forth. I think Okada, I know, won quite a few of them.
I think Okada's
won
up.
A few.
I think Okada's up on the win-loss record.
So it's it could really go either way. I'm gonna go with Kenny.
Yeah.
It's just a feeling, It's just that I can't deny myself that elation that it would bring, Sure? Yeah, go for it, Kenny.
Who am I going for?
Kenny.
I can't bet against my
Kenny. Are you going desired result or just going?
I don't know what I'm doing for desired result.
I know. I might have to add mine at the end of the video.
I might not even use it. I don't know. But yeah, I can't bet against Kenny. I think it would be a much better story to have Kenny win it.
Yeah.
Especially if Kyle Fletcher wins the TNT title, because then at least they're kind of losing one and gaining one in a sense.
Isn't it just amazing how you can feel the emotion attached to these matches. I don't know if it's just the way I'm feeling at the moment, but
I mean,
you don't get this. I'm sorry, you don't get this with WWE.
I was just literally going to say, when was the last time you felt like this with WWE?
WWE, it's like, oh no, they're going to win again. And here we're like, it's like raw emotion. Just thinking, if Kenny wins, I'm just going to be like.
I think a lot of people will probably say, well, when Cody fought Roman Reigns for the second time at WrestleMania, I was like, no, at that point I was checking out because
we already gone. I know for some people it'll still be emotional. Some people are still invested, and that's not a problem.
No,
but for me, for you, nah.
It's like people are like, oh, AEW doesn't do storytelling. Yeah, go back and watch all of this year's stuff and tell me they don't do storytelling.
They do
watch this Kenny, Omega, and Okada story and tell me they don't do storytelling.
They do.
Tell me they
long burns.
Watch Moxley and Hangman build up to this. Tell me they don't do storytelling.
Hangman and Swerve.
That
story is
Okada
still
and
developing.
Swerve. Okada, Swerve, and Hangman. Not Okada, sorry, Ospreay. Ospreay and Swerve. Ospreay, Swerve, and Hangman.
Just because it isn't a soap opera thing, every week you got a new story going on. Every 2 weeks when building up to a thing.
Yeah.
There's almost real lives going on here.
Yeah, and the thing is, people will say, oh, well, AEW's roster's too bloated. You don't get to see all the story progression every single week. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because look at WWE's product. Who have you got in the top slot every week? Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso. Oh, great, awesome. I want to see these matches all over again.
You know what? We've gone on an AEW versus WWE rant again.
I know.
Maybe we should do it.
You started that one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You started that one. Cool. So I actually ran out of space on my page because I didn't want to start a new page because that's the way I do the results and whatnot. So I've had to get, for the last match we're going to talk about, Moxley. The last match we're going to talk about is Jon Moxley, the champion, defending his AEW World Championship against Hangman Adam Page. So, because I ran out of space on my page, I had to make notes on my phone.
Hey, Rags, you can sit on the notebook now if you want.
I hate doing this. I hate having to look at a phone because I don't want to be doing this because I feel it's rude, but I had nothing to do about it right now.
That's shade thrown at me, always doing the notes on my phone.
Well, yeah. It's more like, you go to a restaurant or something, you just see people constantly scrolling. And it's or in the cinema. You go to see a film and there's people scrolling. Put your frigging phone away. I don't want to see your light. I'm looking at if I'm here to look at the screen, not your frigging phone. Yeah. Okay, so much like Mercedes Moné, Hangman Adam Page won the Owen Hart tournament after beating Will Ospreay in an absolute barn burner of a match. That was such a good match. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. He came out on Dynamite the week after. Gave such a heartfelt promo about how he wants to reclaim and make the championship matter once again, because you've now seen it for 10 months since it was October 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, about 10 months.
It might not have even been in the building.
No, exactly. And he praised Ospreay for his match and says, thank you for such a good kind of match, and that really put the fire back in me. And it you could see it made him passionate, and in the match you could see it as well. It was incredible. Swerve decides to come out. And he's usually doing his whole, well, you're not going to hold the title. And again, this kind of leads into what we were talking about earlier with Swerve and Ospreay versus the Bucks. Of my dead body, will you hold the world championship, etc. Ospreay comes out to try and cool things down, try and get Swerve on the same page. Look, Moxley is the enemy of my enemy.
Yeah.
So you need to be on the page that I'm on, get this title back from Moxley, and then we can deal with our differences at that point. But we need to help him, because he is the most credible threat to Jon Moxley right now. Swerve's having none of it. Leads into the match, blah, blah, blah. We've covered that earlier, so that's that. A few weeks later, the Death Riders attack Hangman Page as he's coming out to cut a promo. They tie him up and gag him. Moxley tells him that he needs to focus if he's even got a remote chance of beating him, because he's just not focused. So he's going to make him focus. They're about to attack him. I believe it was a chair or maybe a pipe. This was about 6 weeks ago, so I don't remember full specifics. But the Ops come in to make the save. And obviously that's kind of where the whole thing with the Ops and the Trios titles comes from, because they took it from the Death Rider in the first place. Once Hangman gets untied and he pulls out the duct tape off of him, because they duct tape his mouth, he says that he's going to go through all the Death Riders if he has to. So he's going to start hunting. And he's going to take out all the Death Riders. He's going to take their heads clean off if he sees any of them. A couple of weeks later, he's in Mexico, cutting a Spanish promo. Yeah. Which I never thought I'd ever see, which was nuts.
It's cool.
Moxley's involved in a multi-person tag match. Hangman obviously comes out. Swerve comes out. Everyone's just having a brawl. Hangman comes out, starts beating up Moxley, and they have a massive brawl again, which is great. I think it was the week after that. Then Adam Page beats AR Fox. Moxley beats AR Fox and says he's going to run Hangman out of the business for good. So you can just go back to your farm and keep counting your chickens. That's a bit of a personal jab there. I don't know what's going on with that, but you know what? Leaves his plants. Then Hangman beats Beast Modus at one point. The lights go out, and everyone's like, "Oh, what's going on here? What's going on here?" The lights come out. There's gonna be a loud one.
Sorry. Yeah.
And the EVP, the Bucks have got him, and they slam him with an EVP trigger, and it's like, oh, okay, so clearly Hangman and the Bucks aren't getting along. It's because the Bucks are teaming up with the Death Riders. So the Death Riders come out and they start choking Hangman with a chain. In terms of what happened in the original Texas death match that they had previously, Mox and Hangman, that is. Because that's what happened, and obviously it happened with Swerve and Hangman as well.
Yeah.
But then Ops and Ospreay come out and make the save. Then last week on Dynamite, Hangman comes out and he's like, "Look, I did make one note, but it's not saved yet, I think."
Oh.
And he comes out and he says, "Look, John Moxley, I'm getting really sick of this BS. How about we do this properly? We're going to be in Texas. You want to fight? I'll give you a fight. Texas death match." Moxley comes out to answer the challenge. He's like, "Yeah, no, I don't think so. I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm the champ. I make the decisions. I make the rules. Screw you," kind of thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Moxley, Marina Shafir is still in the ring with the briefcase. So Hangman kind of keeps her hostage, is threatening to beat up Marina Shafir. Mox is severely distraught. You can see he's kind of like, "Oh God, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do?" It's like, "You want Texas death? Fine, you got it." Hangman's like, "Fine, you can have your Marina Shafir back." Drops her on the floor. So she's getting up. He jumps to the outside, still gives her a buckshot lariat anyway. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, yeah, she did it.
What I quite liked is Marina Shafir was more sort of looked worried when Hangman had the briefcase rather than when he was threatening herself. Which is very cool.
There's something very big about that briefcase. There's something not quite right with it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I can't remember what happened to anything last night. I can't remember. Oh my God, it's so warm at the moment.
I think they did brawl. I can't remember now.
I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah, there was a bit of a brawl going on. But nothing really too significant happened last night on Dynamite. Just a bit of a... they had the chain, didn't they? Yeah, they had the chain, yeah.
While Swerve was sorting out the limo.
That's right, yeah. So, who was it? It was Moxley, Young Bucks.
Gabe Kidd was there.
Yeah, Gabe Kidd came out, but he wasn't involved in the match.
No.
It was
he was in the brawl afterwards.
God, who else? It was Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah.
It was Shibata and Ospreay.
That's right.
So it was a 6-man tag. John Moxley wins with a bulldog choke on Kazuchika Shibata. Gabe Kidd, you can see the cameraman. I saw the cameraman first, and he's pointing at someone. I see this bald head just kind of poking above the barrier, and I'm like,
hello.
The cameraman's looking at someone. Who the hell is that? Jumps over. It's Gabe Kidd. Gabe Kidd. Bullet Club. Let's go. War Dogs. Let's go. And that's an interesting. I love Gabe Kidd. It's such a. He's another one that's going to go really fast, especially in New Japan. And it's good to see him coming over to AEW for a bit, especially doing the Best Super Juniors when he's sort of doing the bits and pieces here. But yeah, and then they get a chain. Hangman gets a bit of an upper hand again because they pull the plastic bags and they're going to thingy Ospreay and Hangman.
Yes,
and
that's where they cut to Swerve in the digger.
That's right, and then the chain comes out, and then Hangman managed to get the chain and he's swinging it for the hills. And it's like, oh my God, this is nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the match, as I didn't already allude to, is a Texas death match because I wanted to sort of, much like the EVP one, the Young Bucks one, I wanted to cover it in the progression of the story itself.
Yes.
Anything else you guys about this one?
Can't wait.
Hangman Page has been on an absolute tear.
Yeah.
This year. My God, this man, where has he been since day one? Like I've said before, his first title run fell so flat. It was pointless. It was boring. If Hangman wins this is not going to be a boring title run.
It honestly would mean something. It's like we were saying with the Omega match. There's so much attached to this, and there's a lot of alliances and real feeling and like forced alliance as well, which gives a really interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
But I always get a bit worried with these Moxley matches because it feels like every time there's a Moxley match and his title's on the line, I think this could be it. It's the time, it's right.
Yeah.
And then he keeps it. And they're like, okay, cool, there wasn't the right moment. He's carrying on and it's good. Because it hasn't fallen flat. No. It's not like a long title run that quite often they just start feeling a bit stale if they go on too long. But this has just been, they've carried
There's
it on.
so much intrigue around this briefcase.
But again, this could be the time. It could be.
Could be or is? What's your prediction?
Oh, I'm going to do it. Hangman to win.
Hangman?
No, do it.
Hangman Adam Page to win?
But again, I'm not going to be like upset if he doesn't because I fully have complete faith in the storyline. They know what they're doing. They're not going to keep it until it's too late. They're going to do it at the right time. This might be it, but it might not be.
I think... Who am I going for?
Moxley.
I think this is the right time and Hangman's going to take it. He's got so many allies. Yeah. And much like we were saying earlier with Swerve and Ospreay, Ospreay will end up being in this part of the match because his Texas Death Match is no disqualification.
Yeah.
So Death Rider will turn up. Gabe Kidd's probably going to turn up.
Yeah.
Who's to say the rest of the War Dogs don't turn up? You know, I don't know what's going to happen because we are next. The next pay-per-view is going to be Forbidden Door. Yeah. So potentially the rest of the War Dogs show up, but the Young Bucks might show up. You know, we don't know who's going to turn up.
You know what I think is going to swing it, if anything, is the Ops being involved.
I don't.
No.
I think the Ops is going to come out.
Okay.
But somehow they'll get neutralized. Ospreay will come out.
It'll be a case of. It'll be Swerve.
It'll be Swerve, right?
Okay,
so it'll be a case of everyone will sort of just be brawling, and maybe the Death Riders get the upper hand on the Ops. Out comes Ospreay. Out comes Swerve. Takes out Claudio and Yuta. Willow will come out, neutralize Minchfear. They all brawl to the back, so it's just Hangman and Mox.
So we're thinking.
Then what happens?
Neutral.
Bryan Danielson.
Ooh. But he's finished.
Danielson. He has finished. He's not an active competitor.
No.
He has been backstage. What I didn't mention, remember when Kyle Fletcher was taking on Kyle O'Reilly at Collision? And there was all those Kyle chants. All the Kyle chants, yeah. After the show went off the air, Bryan Danielson turned up. To Final Countdown, came out, was tonight, he said, was it Brian Kyleson or Kyle Danielson, whatever it was.
Very good.
And he was literally joining in and having a bit of fun. I think he's still working backstage. Okay. He's just not an active in-ring competitor. Yeah. Christopher Daniels also is not an in-ring competitor. No. But he's still around.
He's still he's in training montages and stuff. So who's to say
that Bryan Danielson hasn't been biding his time, waiting for the right moment and the right person to come along to get his revenge for what Moxley and the Death Riders did to him at Wrestle Dream last year.
Really put a pin in that story.
Exactly. Full circle. If anyone will come, it'll be Swerve. But I think Danielson might be the one to actually crucify Mox.
He'll be the one that really swings it. Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Hangman Adam Page is winning this title, hands down.
Cool.
I have no doubts.
I still have doubts, but this is great.
So those are our predictions. Yes. That probably went a bit longer than expected.
It's a lot of matches.
We went at 8. That's not a lot for AEW.
True.
But again, it just goes to show the storytelling, the build-up, the emotion, the passion, everything that you feel for every single one of these matches. Even the Mercedes Moné match. Yeah. And how often do you say that about a Moné match?
I know. Even though most of my feelings are anger. But this is fine.
This is going to be a really tough one, but what's your least looking forward to match?
Oh, God. I don't know. I think I might have to say Adam Cole's match. Yeah. Just because it's hasn't had the build up.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. And it doesn't feel like it's been shoehorned.
No.
I'm pretty sure this was announced prior to the Triple Threat Tag Team match.
Yeah.
But it just feels like it's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit.
You've got all these matches up here, and this one's just a
Just
a little bit
it's
lower.
like if all the rest are 10 out of 10s, this is a 9 out of 10. Yeah. It's that kind of feeling to it, But it's certainly going to be a great match, and Kyle Fletcher say Protostar's going to go so far.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, this might be the most difficult one, though. What's your most looking forward to match?
I think it's going to be Texas Death.
Yeah.
It is really difficult because there's so many on here that I'm like excited for, and you saw like the emotion attached to the Kenny Omega match and everything. But I feel like with Hangman and Moxley, it's like the culmination of so much and so long that it's sort of it just pips it to the post because I just really need to see how it ends, I suppose.
Yeah. For me, it's going to be Kenny and Okada.
Yeah.
As much as I was going to say Texas Death, I'm not going to lie, but kind of thinking about Kenny and reading what he was saying the other day about possibly hanging it up soon, I just want to see as many great 5-star Kenny matches as possible right now, and if this is one of his last ones, I'm going to savor it. I'm going to enjoy it thoroughly, and thankfully we've got a massive back catalogue of Kenny Omega.
Very true.
But the day he has to inevitably hang up the boots, that's going to be sad for everyone.
Absolutely.
And obviously it's because of this poxy diverticulitis. You know, there's literally nothing you can do about it. He's had injury upon injury. He's bounced back. He's come back, and he did say after his last injury that if I get injured like that again, I can't come back from it. I think it was a shoulder injury. I think. And then he came back, and it was a couple of months later. He had diverticulitis. He was rushed to hospital, and he almost died. Like, holy bleep, you know. That's part of the emotion behind this for me, is because Kenny is probably like my favorite active wrestler right now.
Yeah, I can't imagine like the turmoil you must go through being someone that it's your life. This whole business is everything that you've known for so many years, and the only thing you want to do, and then something completely out of the blue, completely like unavoidable, just could rip it away at any second. It's horrible.
And I'm pretty sure he's younger than me. He is, he's 41 years old. He's a little bit younger than me.
I hope when he does decide that to call it in ring, I have no doubt he'll still be in a presence.
Oh yeah.
He'll still be
a mentor or a faction leader.
Commentary every now and then. He's gonna be there.
Yeah, he's still an EVP.
It'll just be. I know even that is hard to be around wrestling but not being able to wrestle.
He'll figure something out.
Yeah.
I mean, Kenny's great. I mean, look at the Street Fighter thing he's doing at the moment. He's dressing up as the characters. That was
so funny.
Okay, so our predictions. These are our predictions. Our reactions, rather, will be not coming on Sunday. We have something else we take out of Sunday, so we're watching the event on Sunday as soon as we can, rather. Our reactions will be up on Monday.
Yes.
It's a day later than we wanted, but unfortunately it's a bit of an unavoidable thing. I can't talk anymore. Take it away, Leanne. I can't go.
Thank you so much for watching.
I'm rambling now.
We appreciate you so much. Please do like this video if you liked it. Even if you don't, I mean, it's just a button. Everyone likes pressing buttons. Subscribe if you haven't already to be notified when we drop new videos. Follow us on socials. Our link tree is in the description below, which will take you to Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can talk to us on there. Talk to us in the comments. Let us know what match you're looking forward to the most on this card. Or are you going to be skipping it to watch WWE? We'll only judge you silently in the background, so don't worry about it.
I think that the event running opposite this from WWE's NXT's Great American Bash.
No competition.
And then obviously Saturday main events in the evening. So
yeah, but it's fun.
With Oldberg versus Gunther.
It's gonna be fun.
Where Oldberg is probably going to win the title.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe we'll get a cash in. But there we go. We will be back. So join us on Monday for our reactions. Join in the conversation in the meantime. And until next time, there's an awful lot of wrestling going on this weekend. So
yeah, Ring
enjoy
of Honor
it.
Ring of Honor too.
Enjoy, watch it, have a great time, and we'll see you Monday. Bye.
Bullet Club.